listen to this like Sfardi.
We'll do the short version. We'll do the short version of the Ish Kodesh. We could read it inside, but we'll do the short version. I actually heard this from, his name is Rav Meir Kahin. He gives, he's a senior lecturer at Aish. He has, in Eretz Yisrael. He was a neighbor of mine. Senior lecturer at Aish. He has a seminary in Eretz Yisrael, and he gives Ish Kodesh weekly. If anyone wants to listen, it's on Torah anytime. Amazing. I have no clue. No. Kids are little. He's actually, I believe, he's with that akdama, let's learn a piece of Ish Kodesh. Ish Kodesh asked a question that Rav Menachem asked a moment ago. It's a very fundamental question, and let's just discuss it for a quick few minutes. Pirish Rashi, what does Rashi say? What does it teach us? That each one is nidjish b'as kufla, as chet. Good. Then we all know the famous Rashi that why did Sari Menu die? Sari Menu died because she heard that Yitzchak was killed. She heard about Akidas Yitzchak getting killed, not getting killed. Those the Bali Kabbalah amongst us say no, he actually got killed, and Yitzchak was brought into Gan Eden, and then the Malachim in Gan Eden healed him, and ironically, some Sfarim write that's why Yitzchak missed Sarah's Levaya, because he was up in Gan Eden being at the hospital. Right, and there's Neshama. Good, okay, leave the Kabbalah out. The very basic question is, how is it possible? Sorry, Menu, she is nifter from hearing bad news? Like, how could it be? How can it be? To ask the question a little bit deeper is, what's the Torah teaching us? That question of how could it be, let's focus on number two. Whenever the Torah teaches us something, it's something for us to learn. And the Torah, and the way that he says it over here, is that Moshe Rabbeinu put the Torah this way. V'hainu Moshe Rabbeinu Raya mehemna somach misa sar lakedas Yitzchak. Right? How do we learn it? Because we learn it from the fact that the Torah writes in next to Kedas Yitzchak kidei to teach us that this is what happened. What's it teaching us? So it's teaching us an incredible lesson about pain, suffering, isurim, and how we're supposed to deal with that and the emunah. I think, and if we wanted to make this a whole long and lengthy discussion, we could take a poll. But I think many times we believe...
In the context of where he wrote it.
Yeah, correct. So I believe that many of us think that proper emunah is that when something bad goes wrong, Hashem brought it to us, and it shouldn't bother me. That emunah defines that there shouldn't be pain. Why should I be in pain? If Hashem is giving me something bad, why should I be in pain? And I think this is the nikuda, this is the detail often that hurts us so much, is that we're in pain from something that happened, and then we sit there as we're wallowing in our grief, then we beat ourselves up. I don't even believe that Hashem sent this to me, or I believe Hashem did this to me, so then why am I in so much pain? And it's one of these niggling questions that sometimes is in the back of our brain, sometimes in the front of our brain, sometimes we think about, sometimes we don't think about, and this goes from the most extreme circumstances of correct, and then it goes even to small things. Even small things, we feel like I'm supposed to have emunah, so why is this bothering me? Not just why is it bothering me, it's really bothering me, and I'm burning up over it. Says the Ish Kodesh, you know what the Torah is teaching us? Sari Imenu died from the pain that she was in. You're allowed to be in pain. Being in pain is not wrong. If it was wrong, Sari Imenu wouldn't be in pain. The question is, what's the next step? Once we're in pain, that's when Emunah says, Gamzu l'taiva. That's when Emunah says, I'm hurting. This is so painful. I can't get over this. But I know somehow Hashem is doing this for my best. But it kills me. It's a very fine nuance.
You're saying you're allowed to react.
You're allowed to be. We're human beings. The Torah teaches, you know how much it hurt Sarah? That she died from the pain. That is the highest level of pain possible. That she was nifteres. She left this world due to the excruciating pain that she was in. So obviously pain is not wrong. Pain is a reality. Emunah, and the way that we as Yidden have to deal with our pain, and the Ish Kodesh over here, this is in the first year he's in the ghetto. So you can only imagine in year number 1, as he's getting together his Hasidim, and if anyone reads the history of the Piazetzner Rebbe and what happened to him, it was mind blowing. The pain that he was thrown through. His son was nifter and his daughter-in-law, and insane things. And he's sitting there and he's trying to give chizik to his talmidim as they're sitting there, Hasidim, as they're in the ghetto, and you could only imagine the conditions. Actually, we can't imagine the conditions. And he says, "You're allowed to be in pain. Don't beat yourself up." And this itself is such an incredible idea, because now we know what to do with ourselves. I'm allowed to hurt? Yes, you're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to not be able to deal with it. But then we say, but Hashem did it for us. Do I understand it? No. Do I feel like I understand it? No. Is there maybe some crazy, high, lofty level that I won't even be in pain? Perhaps. But Sarah Yemenu wasn't on that level. Sarah Yemenu herself was on a level that she was hurting. Okay, now what do we do with that pain? That is the Vart of the Ish Kodesh. It's true, there are some unanswered questions. One second. There are some unanswered questions. I'll articulate some of the unanswered questions that Lamaisa, she was still Sarah Yemenu. So how could the pain have been so bad that she was nifteres from it? Shouldn't that have been where her emunah kicked in to save her life? And what happened to the fact that Hashem doesn't give us a test that we can't overcome? Obviously, she couldn't overcome this test if... Oh, very good. That's one answer. Very good. Very good. I was thinking the same thing. Maybe this is what was supposed to happen. And the Mefarshim actually speak out. Another one of the Pshatim in 100 to 20 to 7 is that it's teaching us, even though you might think that she died a premature death, you might think that her life was cut short. Says the Torah, no. It was absolutely perfect to the highest level of perfection.
The Ar Chaim says that yes, maybe it was before
very good.
time.
Very good. Very good.
She got all of the schusim.
Very good. Very
it
good.
Was
so
as if she lived there.
Very good. So Ar Chaim, which we're officially now kicking off the Shtibel's Ar Chaim Shir. It's officially being kicked off right now, right here. If anyone would like here, you can leave right now. But now that Menachem said it, here's Ar Chaim. This is on the same pasuk. The Ar Chaim, and Amir Hashem, we're going to find the right avenue. This is Lezecher Nishmas. Menachem Mendel.
We do the father's name now?
Menachem Mendel.
Ben
Yosef Yospa, who was a Yid who was nifted this past week. Many people probably know of him. He was a Yid that was on the field at the Siyam HaShas. That wasn't his claim to fame. His claim to fame was that he finished Shas with ALS. Or, I don't know, in spite of ALS, however you want to say it. Don't worry, we're not going to read the whole thing inside. It looks much scarier than it is. We're just going to pull out a few lines. He had ALS and he finished Shas. The last Siyam HaShas, they brought him on the field and they said, "Amar take a story, needs incredible chizik." He was nifter this past week. And apparently his family said that one of the things that he recently was learning was Ar Chaim HaKadosh. Ar Chaim HaKadosh. Ar Chaim HaKadosh is a incredible sefer. We have one in the shul, the article version, which has brought many people a taste of Ar Chaim. And Mirz Hashem, we're going to figure out the right avenue when to learn it. But we heard about this very shortly, so I figured let's, for a few moments, again, it is late, anyone who wants to leave can leave. Let's continue this thought of the Ish Kodesh, which is on this pasuk, with the Ar Chaim. I'm going to read a little bit inside. I'm going to do it fast. Thank you for coming. Says the Ar Chaim. We'll start from the top, and then we'll pick up speed. Sarach Ladas Lama Amar, there's the English on the left, the Hebrew on the right. If you didn't know that, please leave. Know that it was English and Hebrew. But no, I'm joking. Sarach Ladas, someone's going to watch this and say, this rabbi should be arrested. Sarach Ladas, the Ar Chaim is discussing the word of Vayiyu, as many of us who've learned, leave it. Many of us have learned, leave it. Many of us have learned the Gemara Megillah, that we know that Vayihi is always a bad language, So that's one of the questions that he's going to deal with. The other question is, usually the Pesukim say Vayichi Adam, Vayichi Shem. Why over here does it say Vayiyu Chayei Sarah? It's a funny wording over here. So we'll say probably two of his pshatim. So number 2 over here, Beis Achin Yisrael Derech Imram says the Medrash Siba Misasim, as we just spoke about, was why? Was because that when she heard that Yitzchak was almost shechted, her soul left her body. Ukfi Zem Misa Sarah. So now he explains was due to the Shmuah of Yitzchak, and that's why the Paul says Vayiyu Lashon Tsar. See how many people, I amongst them, sometimes find amazing about such incredible Sfarim is it teaches us how every letter in the Torah teaches lessons. Vayiyu Chayei Sarah. And it was the life of Sarah. Why was Vayiyu? The word Vayiyu is teaching us a whole story. That Vayiyu is teaching us there was pain. Why was there pain? Because she was nifteres. No, that's not why she was pain. There was pain because she was nifteres, because Yitzchak Avinu was shechted. No, he wasn't. But that's what she thought. So the Torah writes the word vayiyu to tell us this sar. Absolutely incredible. What? Yeah, very good.
Not the fact that he wasn't actually nishvat.
Very good. That's how he's learning. Very good. Very good.
Right, that's why I was saying before,
Yes.
like that he wasn't, right, because I learned that. Like,
Very good. Spared at the last moment. Now, but the question is, so she heard that?
Oh, she thought he didn't go through with it.
Right. That's
he failed the
that's
test.
part of the question. Good. Okay, let's continue. A year to Lafim Amarim, another reason, number 3 over here. Aniskar Shemis Alidei Besuara Zayagin. When someone is nifter due to a bad tiding, this teaches Shem Lo Haya Hama'ira Oy L'Chaim. So when we hear this story, you know what we think? Sorry, Menu could have still been alive. She lived 127, she could have been another 2 years. V'amrim Vayiyu Pirush Havaya Chadasha. Mishunis, it's a new creation. It was a new creation that caused this whole event, which was Yitzchak Avinu's potential shechita. Because tzaddikim in their death are called life, and what a great way to start such an endeavor. Menachem Mendel ben Yosef Yitzba, Tzaddikim certainly Mechayim Yemeim Rishayim Yemeim, that Tzaddikim in their death are called alive. What greater way to live on. And we continue over here in number Dalid, in letter Dalid. V'amru oid shnei chayisaras. Now it continues the Arachaim. So we know why it's Vayihi. We know that it's a new creation. We knew that it's teaching us Sar. But why shnei chayisara? Lefi ma shepirashti shamar vayiyu lahagit shemisa machmas Sar. The pasuk teaches shnei chayei pirush shesholma shnei chaya. So it's teaching us, so you might think her life was now cut short. This was the question you just asked. That's what we brought out the Arachaims in Ois Dalid over here. That you would think her life got cut short. No. El Shai says, Siba Shemis Al Yadu L'Masha B'Rashi Al Yidei Siba Sabasura Allah L'Chaya Pachis Mimashaya. She was nifter early. Yechavin L'Yidia Mishpat HaChesed Yishpat HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Yedidav. Hashem's wonderful chesed He does to His beloved Ki Chol Tzadik. Shlo Hishba Yamav L'Siba Yidua L'Yigara Hashem Mitzadik Masha Haya Marviach Elu Chayi Shana Shleimim. Incredible. He says by tzaddikim, if a tzaddik has to be nifter early, whatever the reason is, Hashem ensures that in that tzaddik's life, he got everything in before that moment.
He could have in that time,
Cause,
being alive.
very good. You just told me a story that this past Shabbos, they bought him the kever before he was nifter. Last Shabbos. Yeah. And then boom. And how many times do we hear about incredible people that happened to be something happened and they were nifter? Because what's going on, the Arachaim HaKadosh teaches us, because Hashem ensures, Hashem in His infinite kindness, it's a kindness, it's a chesed, that you could do everything you need to do beforehand. V'yashlo schari. Shnei chayei Sarah. And we'll finish over here in Ois Dalid with another pshat, and this is a little bit of I don't want to say negative pshat. It says that Sarah Imenu was Shnei Chayei Sarah, is that the first 100 years she was in pain, 90 years till she had children, the 10 years, and then so it's teaching us that she really only lived the 27 years at the end of her life. So that's Arachaim HaKadosh really bringing out this incredible story that we just spoke about, that the Shnei Chayei Sarah, the 120 to 7, but tying it together with this Vard of the Arachaim teaching us that the Torah is giving us an allowance to be in pain. And recently I was at a Shiva house, and we'll leave all details aside. It was a terrible tragedy, and an older Rav came in, and the first thing he said was, first he said, I'm going to take your silence as if you spoke, because we know the halacha is the aval supposed to speak, but this was the day after someone's young child was Rahman al-Islam nifter, so this big Rav says, I'm going to take your silence as if you spoke. And then the Rav said, you're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be in pain. And we've heard these words so many times, but now we have a source for it. That's the beauty. The Ish Kodesh is teaching us that Sari Imenu Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us by writing the story this way, that Sarah is teaching us that you're allowed to be in pain. Now, we're in pain. We recognize the pain. Now, the avodah, the hard work is to try to somehow say, Gamzu l'taiva, Hashem did it for us. I don't understand it. I'm allowed to be in pain. And sometimes that mere recognition is one of the greatest tools to cope. One of the greatest tools is to say, I'm allowed, because sometimes the internal anguish hurts us even more than the anguish itself. That's the incredible lesson of the Chaim HaKadosh. And Mirza Hashem, to learn the Chaim should bring an incredible schos ilui nishmasai.